Hi, it's Victoria Ely with Adventure Education with another quick little Teachers Talk episode. So, I'm going to talk about something that I think all teachers kind of reflect on at some point in their career. And it's basically two buckets: the things I wish I knew and the things that I'm glad I knew. So, I'm going to give you my take on what I wish I knew. And take everything that I say as a grain of salt. I mean, we all have different experiences, but for the most part, the things that I'm going to say, I wish I knew. I'm pretty sure most people, if it is their first time being a teacher, then we all were kind of green going in and didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. So let me get my list, and I'm going to start with number one. I wish I knew how cutthroat some administrators and teachers would be. And when I say cutthroat, I don't mean that literally, obviously. But what I do mean is that some people will step on your back, pull you down, try to hold your shoulders down, all while needing your help and using you in the process. And I had to learn very quickly that schools are just like any other business. There's going to be people who need you and will utilize your skills and will do all of those things that happens in when you're good at your job, but then that reciprocation is not always there. And I was one of those teachers that I said yes to everything. Do you want to do this? Yes. Do you want to do that? Yes. Do you want to do this? Yeah. I was that teacher until I had to learn to say no sometime. And not because the person was intentionally using me. I just had to learn to manage my time better and not always think about what that person wanted, whether it was from me because I was good at it or just because nobody else would do it. I had to learn to start saying no. And that was one of the things I wish I knew going in. Not to say that I would have been that teacher that never wanted to work over or I never wanted to volunteer, but I had to learn strategically, if there's something that I'm going to gain from it, whether it's knowledge, experience, even money or comp time, something, then it was more of a negotiation more than it was I'm just being used for something because I'm good at it or because I'm always willing to help. Because at some point we do get burned out. And that's what I was doing, not realizing it, was burning myself out. So that's the one thing I wish I knew. The second thing that I wish I knew is that this job is not for everybody. I started out as a department head, and granted, I was a new teacher and department head, but leadership is leadership to me. So I was kind of like, okay, I got this. But there were some teachers that I was like, are you really sure you want to be doing this? You can't do that with the kids, and you can't say that to the kids. And so it's like, this job is not for everybody. If you have a short temper, if you have a foul mouth, if you have a tendency to put hands on your own children, it's very likely that you can lash out, crash out, and put your hands on somebody else's kids. So again, teaching is not for everybody. And going in as a department head, I'm thinking like, oh, you want to be a teacher? Hey, let's make this work. But sometimes the talk is, are you sure you want to do this? And are you sure, this is the sacrifice. This is what you should be doing. This is what you need to be doing. And everybody is not cut out for that level of requirement. And on top of all of the things that you have to do administratively as a teacher, paperwork, grading, lesson planning, you still have to teach the kids and ultimately get them to some level of success and achievement. And everybody doesn't have that level of motivation to do that. So there was a lot of teachers that I've experienced in my career who were just like, I would hate to be in your class, because not only were they boring or they were not really fluent in what they were teaching, you act like you don't want to be here. So there's some things that I say when I say teachers, you really need to want to do this job. But if it's not something that you feel like you could do long term, or that you could do, get you some good years out of it, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Don't even start. Because to me, if you start off as a teacher and then you realize, oh, this ain't for me, you knew that before you went in. There was something in you. There's enough information. There's enough people talking about it to let you know what you can tolerate. So don't waste teachers' time, other teachers. Don't waste children's time, parents' time, administrators' time if you know that this job is not really for you. And that could be boiled down to your personality type. So we can have a whole conversation about that. But teaching is not for everyone. And the last thing that I wish I knew was that I wanted to be administrator in the beginning. Like, I wish I went in saying, oh, I don't want to be in a classroom forever. I actually was saying that. I was like, man, I don't want to be an administrator. I'll just stay in a classroom. I don't want to deal with all that. But now that I am veteran, matured in the classroom, I'm helping teachers anyway. I'm doing the things that leadership does, but not with the title or the money. I wish I had known what my future me would want, and I would have gone down the path at a different time. So again, it is what it is. Everything is perfect timing, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But I wish I had foresight into where I could see my career going when I first started. All right. So getting down to what I'm glad I knew. The first thing that I'm glad I knew was how to work with children and people in disadvantaged populations. And not just people that are color, skin, minority. I'm talking about disadvantage in economics, disadvantage in learning ability. I have experience and have worked with children. I have my own children who I've raised, so I kind of knew how to work with kids. And one of the things that I know when I see teachers in the classroom, a lot of times their tolerance level, especially if they don't have any children, they have to develop that over time. Like, you don't go in a classroom as a first year teacher straight out of college with no kids and know how to manage a classroom full of children. That's something that you just have to learn over time. So I'm glad I knew going in how to work with children, because it made a huge difference in how well my classroom management was able to just flow, because I knew exactly what children would do, what they would try to get away with. I knew the things that they would say that I knew was a lie or an excuse that they just didn't want to admit. So those are the kind of things that I'm glad I knew, as I knew about children and how to work with them. The second thing was, I'm glad I had some management under my belt. Previous jobs and career in my corporate world, I've had experience managing people and managing projects and doing a whole lot of different things that it was a breeze to just jump in and be leadership, even a school leadership, on my first day. So glad I had some management experience. And the last thing that I'm really glad I knew, wearing multiple hats. Wearing multiple hats and not complaining about it being the job, and being able to juggle those responsibilities and still be able to get everything done that needs to get done. And I believe, and this is my own theory, I wish I could do my doctorate on it, but it sounds kind of boring to do long term, but multitasking, and somebody else probably already did this, multitasking is not real. Nobody can do 100% of multiple things at one time. You are going to give something less than 100% than you're giving the other thing. So multitasking is not a thing, but being able to handle multiple responsibilities, that's a thing. Because while you're managing this, you're going to get that done. And then when you're not working on that, you're going to work on this and you're going to get that done. And we're not working on those two things, you're going to be working on that and you're going to get that done. That's multiple responsibilities. It's not multitasking, because you're not working on all three things at the same time. So I believe that being able to juggle responsibilities and wear multiple hats and not be overwhelmed was something that I knew how to do going in. Every corporate job, from the nonprofit to the public housing, I always wore multiple hats, and those multiple hats prepared me for all of the hats that you wear in the school. So in the beginning, when I said, I wish I knew that I was going to be back to wearing, multiple hats. but I'm also glad that I knew how to do that and do it so fluently to the point where when it was time for me to start saying no, it was because I was wearing too many hats. Not because it was just part, not part of the job, but I'm like, hold on now, I got on 4 or 5 different hats now. Let me take off about 2 of these and I'll work with the 3. But no teacher is only teaching. We are always doing something else because we know ultimately we're looking at student success. But if you're trying to climb a ladder or you're trying to get to another level, then you're obviously wearing multiple hats as well, because that's part of that job as well. When you're trying to get to leadership, you're wearing multiple hats, because in leadership, you're wearing multiple hats. So glad I knew how to manage multiple responsibilities. And that was something that came with me from corporate. So again, one of the things that I think that teachers who are coming into this career fail to realize is that your past experiences, whether it's in college, jobs, whatever that you have, you bring all of that experience into the classroom, and really you need to be able to use it, to some level, but if you are not able to, then you're going to have to develop all of these skills that will make you successful in the classroom, because it does not happen overnight. It could take 2, 3, 4 years before you feel fluent in being a teacher. And not even the content, because that could change every year depending on your school's needs. You can teach this subject one year, and then you might teach a different grade level the next year, or you might go back the next year. Like, you don't know exactly where you're going to be needed. You have to be flexible when it comes to education, because the teacher needs to go wherever the need is. And that's based on what the school demographics are and whatnot. So I'm so glad that I made the choice to be a teacher, and it eventually became to where now I feel like I'm ready to leave the classroom. And when I leave the classroom, I'm ready to help other teachers stay in the classroom. Even if it's 10 years or 15 years, staying in the classroom ultimately is the goal that most principals want. But most principals also should be raising up those teachers who are leadership capable and have the qualities, so that they can help keep their vision and mission together in their school. So again, this is Miss Ely with Adventure Education, just sharing some teacher talk with you. So if you are reflective, then hopefully you've had a chance to talk about the things that you wish you knew. And ultimately, what has kept you in teaching is most likely the things that you already knew. So any questions you have for me, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will help you be that teacher that you want to be.